What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the All Sports Best podcast. The first time we've done one of these original style podcasts in a while. I'm Trey here with Ruben, and we're upstairs at the Lucky Bull Grill talking about March Madness because, in my opinion, it's the best tournament of all time. It's the best time of the year to watch sports. It can be up for debate. I won't debate it. I'm not going to have my mind changed. That's just me. Ruben feels the same way.
For sure. The best 3 weeks in basketball. Really, basketball to me is the most exciting of all the sports to watch. And I think March Madness, because you just have one game to either win or lose and make it to the championship and win it all, that's just awesome.
So, got a bone to pick with the NCAA. Things have got to change. We've already kind of understood this from the standpoint of football, from the standpoint of other sports. Football's a big one, though, because guys just kind of quit. At the end of the year, they've kind of done what they were supposed to do or what they thought they should do to get noticed. Now they're on the map. Now they can move to another college to make more money. And the problem with that is that the transfer portal allows that. Now, I'm not against the transfer portal all the way. I do think that there's a lot of things that could be improved upon, but I get it. Hey, things aren't working out. There's another opportunity for me. I want to go somewhere else. However, if your team is still competing, it's a bad look. Imagine, though, that you could get one of the best players in the nation, knowing they're probably going to do the same thing to you the next year. Doesn't matter. I can get them for a whole year, whatever. But that player's not going to finish the season for you. This year we saw a player, what team was it? I think it was Michigan.
There's a player on Michigan that is already announced that he's going into the transfer portal because it just started, on Monday, and he already announced, and they still have a game this Thursday or Friday, and so he's going to play that game with everybody knowing that he's going to go in the transfer portal to play somewhere else. So to me, how awkward is that?
Is he going to play it?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gonna.
Yeah.
So as long as he's playing, I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it because the thing about the transfer portal is that you can go in and still stay there. So maybe it's just like a negotiation tactic. It's business. I'm gonna go into the transfer portal. I'm gonna see what I can get out there. Hey, Michigan, you want me back? Cool. Make a bid. Make an offer. Right?
Yeah.
It's
give
Scottie
me a great
son.
NIL deal.
It's Scottie Pippen's son, I believe. Justin Pippen, Scottie Pippen's youngest son, will reportedly leave Michigan. But I mean, that to me is annoying. The fact that it opens at that time. So I want to fault the player, but you really can't because that's the opportunity that's been given. You're gonna wait 2-3 weeks. Hey, we just won. I've wanted to go to the transfer portal anyways. The situation is not what I want. What are you gonna do? So it's the organization's fault over everything.
No, the rules are the rules. I just think the transfer portal should wait until after the whole season is over. The Final Four, all that stuff's done. Then that next, Monday is the championship game. On that Tuesday, then go, okay, now the transfer portal's open and do it like that. And I think that's the same way with coaches, though. Coaches do the same thing. The one coach that was at McNeese State, remember? He went ahead and let him know that he was taking an offer at North Carolina State instead of waiting till the season's completely over, talking to his team. Hey, we had a great year. Hey, you know what? A couple days later, when they're doing their out thing with the team, then go, hey, you know what? I'm not coming back next year. I got another offer. Okay, you understand. It's like you said, I get frustrated with it, but you say it's business. You're getting a lot more money to go somewhere to a bigger school, whatever. That's great. What I don't like about it is that it hurts NCAA and it's hurting this March Madness because the long shots we used to see, remember we used to see that Chicago Loyola and some of those schools that you never even heard of, they are in the Sweet 16 and you're going, oh my gosh, this team, they were the 200th team in the nation and now they're in the Sweet 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they've got dudes, you know what I mean? Maybe they're all seniors now or whatever. Well, now, if you've got a good guy, he's going to the next school like Pippen or like JT Toppin or, you know what I mean? People like that. They just go to the school that is going to give them better NIL, kind of the same thing as the coaches, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's killer. McNeese State did win their first game against Clemson. They won it by just barely squeaking by, even though they were dominating in the first half. That one was tough for me because I had Clemson, and that sucked. But they ended up getting beaten by Purdue in the next round, and it kind of put a stop, for the most part, with the exception of Arkansas, maybe, to the long shot thought this year. And there was an analyst, I can't remember who it was. I know it was a big time, a prominent analyst that said that if the NCAA does this often, then it's going to die. The March Madness is going to die. It's going to be boring, all of that stuff. And I completely 100% disagree with that. I think it's the stupidest take maybe of the year, or at least of the year in college basketball. If you do not have years where the people that are supposed to win do win, and it's always just underdog city, all that. I love that. Obviously, we want to see upsets. We want to see those crazy buzzer beaters. We want to see who's this guy. He just came off of injury. He's finally proven something for his team. Of course, we want to see that. However, you also want the possibility that things like this can happen. And a lot of times we see a lot of upsets happen, and then it's like, wow, that was super improbable, whatever. Every now and again, you got to offset it with what's supposed to happen. You know what I mean? And we always talk about it in pro sports. The big dogs are the ones that people go to watch. And so if your Sweet 16s are all big names, then, it's going to draw a big crowd.
Okay,
too.
so I'm going to give a hypothetical to you. Would you like it better if the 4 number ones or 3 number ones and a number 2 were in the Final Four? Or would you like to see maybe a couple of them that were a little bit out of the top 8 teams?
Oh,
in the country?
100%. I'd rather see underdogs and all of that stuff make it far. But what they were saying was when things like this happen, it starts to kill the sport. And I think that I disagree. If it happens every single year for the next 8 years, sure. And I really hope that's not the case because of, like you said, the transfer portal. But if it happens once, twice out of every 5 so years, then it's okay. It's reasonable. Hey, the committee did their job and actually ranked them accordingly. So to me, if they do that, I'm fine with it, So.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go ahead and reach out to people that are listening. Hey, next year, hit me up for my bracket because I have the best bracket that is ever out there. Because the other brackets, you just pick, oh, okay, this team's good. This is a better seed. And you go all the way down. And in your Final Four, you have 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s. And it's kind of boring. But in mine, you only get 1 number 1. And it makes it a lot tougher to pick them.
All right, so let's talk about the most exciting players to watch right now. Obviously, the number 1 guy everybody's been tuning into, whether he's balling out, which he always is, or not, it's Cooper Flagg. Duke is everybody's favorite this year because of that guy, and I'm a North Carolina Tar Heels guy. Love to watch Cooper Flagg. Don't want to see Duke win. Love to watch this kid play. He's really fun. He's on every commercial there is in March Madness, and you can really start to see the NIL effect with guys like this, with Paige Beckers, with Juju Watkins, with, a few other players. But, when you become a big name, it's insane what it does to you, even in college. Like, why would you leave college any earlier than you have to now,
Well, and it's kind of crazy. Like I think you were the one telling me he came from Maine and nobody knew about him. And then once they discovered him, he became the biggest thing since sliced bread. And
it was quick.
Yeah, it's crazy how he's just gone. Now he'll be the number 1 pick in the draft and he'll just impact whatever team he goes to. And that's a big deal. Okay, the guy I want to talk about is Derek Queen. No, I didn't say Dairy Queen. Derek Queen. He's the guy from Maryland that made the shot to win the game against Colorado State, wasn't it?
I believe so.
They went in the huddle right at the end of the game, and they were like, okay, what are we going to do? And then this guy, to me, he reminded me of Jimmy from Hoosiers because he's like, hey, coach, I want the ball. I'll make the last shot.
With choice words, he said that, yeah.
Yeah, it was so sick. And then he gets the ball. He drives the lane like he's a guard. The guy's like 6'11", maybe 270. I mean, a big dude.
Big boy.
He shoots it the left side from the right hand, and I don't even know. He made it and won the game, and they were saying, well, he traveled. And if you watch
was it a travel?
I think, like they say, you can get like a gather step or something. It could have gone either way, I guess, but I think at that time of the game, it's almost like calling a little foul. You know what I mean? Like you almost.
I get that too, but I don't think it's above getting reviewed.
No.
3 steps. I mean, 3 obvious steps. I've heard the same thing, and I've had arguments with people about the gather step. I think if you are given 2 steps towards the basket after you dribble, like why do you need a third one? I think that's, to me, ridiculous. I do agree it was a travel, but I'm okay with it ending like that. I wanted Colorado State to win just because that would have been a cool thing. Hey, a 12 seed.
Another 12, yeah.
Yeah, another 12 seed kind of getting that spotlight, and who the heck's Colorado State when it comes to basketball or any sport. You don't really think about Colorado State as excelling or an excellent team.
That's for sure. No, it was an exciting end, but it's always controversy, just like the St. John's game. The St. John's game was two legendary coaches, Calipari, Pitino. It was like a Final Four game just from the coaches.
Yeah.
And of course, St. John's had a heck of a year, and they were like the number 2 seed. They were awesome. And then Calipari comes with Arkansas. They're a long shot.
Yeah.
And St. John's Pitino ends up benching his best player, R.J. Lewis Jr., who was Conference Player of the Year. He was like everything, and he didn't have a great game, which is understandable, but you'd still want that guy in at the end of your game. They needed 3-pointers to come back. They had him on the bench for the last, half of the second half.
Really?
Maybe.
Last half?
Like maybe 6 or 7 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
Left in the game. It was... And they just kept showing him, so it was kind of bad.
I didn't get a chance to watch that game as it happened, but I heard all the stories. That to me was really ridiculous because, again, you rode this guy to this position.
He got you there.
Things happen, but also guys get hot at the end of the game. What's the difference going to make if you end up losing this game with him on the bench or him in the game? The difference is nobody's asking you questions about how stupid you are. Now, I get it. He's a legendary coach. That's comes with the territory of being able to make decisions however you feel is just. But in that particular case, there's no real good explanation. I know he's not doing good, but how many other sports do you see, players not do well? They've had a great year, they don't do well, and then all of a sudden something good happens or they get hot.
Well, if he's the player that he is, you know that they're going to at least guard him or even double team him when he has the ball. Compared to somebody else that's not doing good, that's a nobody, then they might go, you know what, just let him shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's definitely going to make an impact either way.
The biggest villain in March Madness this year, the maybe the most hated two-time back-to-back champ, Dan Hurley, the coach of UConn. Sore loser, to say the least, and that was one of the more disappointing things because all the lessons you learn, all the press conferences that you watch, you get them all from the coaches and you go, I'm going to show my players, this is what a coach looks for, right? They always are saying, hey, how are they in the classroom? What's their attitude like? All of this stuff. Dan Hurley is the opposite of that now. And of course, you have success. You do big things. We saw that his brother was a big-time college star and a big basketball star. He wasn't. And then all of a sudden, now he's this incredible coach. Obviously, he worked hard for it, but now he's going to be known as the sore loser. And unless he has like 5 straight incredible years and he's got the best sportsmanship out there, Dan Hurley is going to go down as a sore loser. That's what he's going to be known for. That's a bad rep to have, especially for UConn, a prestigious basketball school like that. However, you win 2 national championships. Does it offset the sore loser part?
No, I don't really think it does. I mean, you're teaching, like you said, you're teaching your players what's right and everything else. And then for you to go down the hall leaving and yelling at the fans saying, I hope they don't do this to you. The referees don't do this to you like they did to us. So he's just complaining that the referees did him wrong. And then he's crying at his press conference like, oh, I just love this team. And I think what hurt Dan Hurley was they said that once he got the offer to be the Lakers head coach, after that, he became like the guy saying, I'm the best coach in the country.
Yeah.
Like it went to his head, and I think that affected it.
And it's not even just the walking down the tunnel saying, I hope they don't do this to you. The way that he was using the F word is ridiculous. The fact that he was complaining like that, again, ridiculous. They lost that game. They weren't supposed to win that game anyways. It's not like it was this, atrocious game in terms of officiating.
Yeah.
And he did this like all year long. The way that he was talking, the way that he was acting, arrogant, and he lost a lot of fans. I think he lost a lot of people that were on the fence. You're not going to lose alumni. You lost people on the fence that are like, I kind of like the Huskies. They don't like you anymore. All right, next on the topic, next on the list of topics in men's basketball is NIL deals and it expanding to now beyond players. And of course, coaches had that option. They could do it before. That's not ever been a question. But Amir Khan, the McNeese State student manager who comes out the tunnel, the reason he got famous really is due to the social media management team and whoever's manning the camera. They should get an NIL deal too, or at least a piece of the pie. Hey, He's making 6 figures now.
Yeah.
6 figures for walking out with a boombox. Is he somebody that's going to bring energy, charisma, all of that stuff, chemistry to the locker room? Probably. And I would go as far as to say absolutely. But at the same time, you know, he's not self-made. And I think that is something that should be approached too. Like, hey, you're going to make 6 figures. Toss a small check, or at least like, you know, buy dinner for this person that got you there. Because I don't know if you've heard some of the interviews. He's very confident in himself, which is great. Like, go for it. You're killing it right now. However, that doesn't happen unless he was like holding the camera himself, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm sure he wasn't.
That's not how it goes.
But of course, it wasn't maybe holding it for him. It was just holding it for the team coming out.
Yeah, it
too.
was. Yeah, but
I
he
mean,
came out.
If you haven't heard of this guy, he's got socks with his picture on it. They have shirts that even the players wear that has his picture on them, and they just, I think Buffalo Wild Wings sponsored him, and he's got a big boombox with that. And I mean, he's killing it. And now he's went into the transfer portal. First student manager going into the transfer portal to North Carolina
I don't
State.
think that's true, though.
I know, but
there's
I mean
been a lot
that
of
people know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but my thing is that going to open it up for other student managers to become like famous like
Personalities.
that? Yeah, to become famous on social media, just so they can get NIL deals. We'll see, I guess.
100%. I think it's going to happen. But yeah, I saw he did some kind of tax software sponsorship, B-dubs. I saw one of the cookie companies. I mean, I think off the top of like what I saw, not the top of my head, but what I saw was like 5 or 6. I heard he got over 100 calls about NIL deals and possibilities, and now he's worth 6 figures and counting. So.
Am I too old to become a student manager?
I don't think so. I think you're good. All right. Next up is the Women's March Madness. And why is it not as popular? There are some big talents. There's some big names. But why is it not so popular? The reason for that, the way I see it, is the fact that every single high seed advances. If you're going to see a team beat another team that's a higher seed, it's like a 1 seed higher. And I think that is 100% why Caitlin Clark blew up to the point where she was. Not the fact that she's not good enough to be that good. She is, obviously. She's incredible. She's amazing. But because she chose to go to Iowa and she blew up Iowa, who knows about that? Who do we think of when we think of March Madness teams for women? UConn, South Carolina, Stanford, now USC. You didn't really think that big time before, maybe LSU. But she became this girl that was humble, a great personality, hard worker, incredible player, and to top it all off, I think the main reason she had such appeal was she wasn't playing for UConn. If she was playing for UConn, I think she gets buried in just like the rest of them.
Well, I mean, she becomes like Paige Becker. Paige Becker is amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about her. She gets the NIL deals, all that stuff. But she's at UConn, and you expect that from UConn players to be the best in the country. But from Iowa, like you said, she was from Iowa. She made Iowa, a top 4 team in the Final Four both years, the last 2 years. So that's incredible.
Yeah, no, she was that. I think that's a big part of her appeal, and a part of the non-appeal for March Madness is the fact that that's just once in a blue moon. You're not going to really see that. Anybody that maybe threatens to upset, they just don't. They won't. Juju Watkins getting hurt. That one I think is the injury of the year in March Madness. We'll name it injury of the year. March Madness in women's was, I think, very much on Juju Watkins' shoulders. It was her, and it's, like you said, Paige Becker's, but UConn is a powerhouse. They're not a 1 seed.
They're a 2 seed, and they're going to
powerhouse.
play. They're going to have to play USC to get to the Final Four. But that was the big matchup that everybody was looking forward to. And now with her tearing her ACL and being out, it's going to be sad to not
Tore
see her
her
out there.
ACL. It was seemingly like a non-contact thing. It was kind of just a misstep, kind of one of those things. What stinks about that is there's not really a good prevention form for that. You can wear a brace. It's not going to really change anything. Yeah. It'll help you not go as far, but an ACL is, if it's going to tear, or a meniscus or whatever, it's probably going to happen, at least from what I've been told. So once you have that, when she's the athlete that she is, she'll come back, she'll be fine. But it's always kind of a thought in the back of your head in basketball. So will she be the same? Probably. But her being out this year, this was the time that we wanted to see her really ball out. Now, if UConn goes on, it's just kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So That's what we got, guys. That's your March Madness 2025 update here from All Sports Best. Trey, Ruben, thank you guys for watching, and catch us next time.